All right, Rhys, so tell us a little bit about iMakr and what you do.
Okay, so this is iMakr. This is the company I work for. iMakr is 3D printing business. We do a little bit of everything, to be honest. So primarily we resell machines. So we operate a store in Farringdon, which is the largest 3D printing store in the world, where we sell all these kind of things, have all this kind of stuff on display. And then My Mini Factory is essentially our sister company. So My Mini Factory is solving the problem of what to print now that I have a 3D printer.
Right.
So you'd go to iMakr, you buy your 3D printer from there, and you go home, you go into My Mini Factory, and all of these files we make freely available to download. So the idea being you don't even have to be a designer anymore. You essentially can just go and grab these files for free and start printing them right out the gate.
Cool. So if I've got like an idea in mind, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, could you make me something kind of like this? Could I then send that to you guys?
Yeah, we do that. So I mean, we do print-on-demand services, design-on-demand services. You could essentially come to us with just an idea or a sketch and say, hey, I want this realized in 3D. We have a team of really highly specialized designers who specialize particularly in designing for 3D printing, who can then help you realize that in whichever way you want.
Well, so 3D printing is still a very new technology, so
Yes.
let's break it down at the very basic level. So what's it made from, and like how long does it take?
Firstly, I'll correct you quickly, it's not as new as you might think. 3D printing has been around since the early 80s, believe it or not. In the recent years, a number of patents have expired, which have led to kind of the second wave of 3D printing. 3D printers like this, which is kind of a home-use 3D printer, this uses plastic. It's quite fundamentally a simple technology. Plastic gets fed in through that tube and then gets melted by this, which is an extruder, which has a very smart brain in there that knows exactly how fast to melt the plastic and how quickly to extrude it. It lays it down one layer at a time, gradually building up your object, which you then pull out of the printer and away you go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And so I mean, some of the objects around you, we've got like some Splinter Cell goggles, we've got this Crash Bandicoot mask, obviously the Bandicoot back. How long does something like that take to make?
Oh, it depends. So essentially, you can decide how fine you want the print to be. Obviously, it prints it in layers, and you can define exactly how big you want each layer to be. So the smaller the layer, obviously, the longer it's going to take to print, but you're going to get a higher resolution result. So I don't know, if we take this, for example, something like this would have taken maybe, we're looking at probably 8 to 10 hours or something like this. Okay. Again, it depends. You could change your resolution and probably get something like that down to 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, it really depends.
And then it's all painted afterwards?
Yes, so I mean, you do get printers that can print in multiple colors, no more than 2 or 3 at this stage. But yes, it's very easy to paint on these objects. As you can see, you can use an airbrush or just kind of general acrylic paint and kind of get all these kind of funky effects that you see around here.
Great, great. So what about like I mean, you've got an entire cloud and energy sword behind us over there, what you don't think the camera can see.
This is one of the bigger prints we've done to date. Something like this, considerably longer than 6 to 8 hours. You're looking at around 50 to 60 hours for something like this. It gets printed in individual parts, which we then slot together, glue, and then finish.
Cool.
Again, it sounds like a long time, 60 hours, but it's 60 hours where you're not involved. You don't have to sit there and do anything. You just let it happen in the background, and then you can get on with the rest of your work, which is a handy part of the technology. It just gets on with the job at the end of the day.
And you can do moving parts as well, correct?
You can. I'll show you. So again, if you're just clever with the way you design things, you can get moving parts. So you've got a chamber there that comes in and out with the mechanism like that, and that'll just all click into place, and that comes out of the printer as is. Cool. So yeah, you can definitely do moving parts. You just got to be a bit clever about the way you design things.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. Rhys, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today.
Absolute pleasure.
Really interesting. I'm so excited to see how 3D printing becomes more mainstream.
Yeah,
see
me
how
too.
it develops.
Again, that's why we're here. And again, if you or your audience want any more information, come down to the iMakr store. It's in Farringdon in London. We're always happy to chat about this tech and kind of show people the way it works.
Thank you very much, Rhys.
Absolute pleasure,
Cheers.
man.
Thank
Cheers.
you.